Hello, welcome back to another video. Welcome to my February wrap up. This is going to be quite a short wrap up because I only actually read 4 books in February, which isn't the best but also is fine because I got 4 whittled off my TBR anyways. It wasn't the best reading month, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like it just wasn't completely outstanding, but we'll just get on into it anyway. So the first book I don't have the physical copy of anymore, so I'll pop a picture on screen, but I'm going to read the description because I can't really fully remember what it was about. The first book is called Long Island by Colm Toibin. So this is actually based in, I think the first book is called Brooklyn, and that's obviously based in Brooklyn, New York, and that follows the start of this family. I don't think you have to read it before this one because I didn't, and then this one is based in Ireland. So yeah, we're getting a bit of a different setting. So Eilish, I think is how it's pronounced, Lacey is our main character, and she's married to Tony Fiorello. And basically she finds out one day that Tony has been cheating on her. He has impregnated another woman and the other woman's husband is not happy, so he goes to find Eilish and basically says to her, when the baby's born it's getting dropped off on your doorstep. And Eilish is like, well, I don't want the baby either because it's not mine. So it sparks that whole thing, and then she speaks to her husband, confronts her husband about it, and he is basically saying he's going to keep the baby if they follow through with the threat, because what else can he do? So Eilish goes back home to Ireland because it's going to be her mum's 80th birthday anyway, so she goes back home to celebrate her mum's 80th with her, stays for about a month or so, and just tries to re-find herself again, and her children join her like a couple of weeks into the trip. And basically it's about her just kind of rekindling her old life and seeing her old friends, her old boyfriends, just her whole old life that she left behind to go to America. And it's literally just about her finding herself again and seeing which fit is better for her. It was an alright story, to be honest. Like, I kind of could see where it was going to go halfway through. I feel like it just gave off the vibes of the way it was going to go anyways. But yeah, I enjoyed it for the most part. I feel like if I'd have read the first story it probably would have had more backstory on them as a couple, because at the moment I've only got one side of Tony, which is the cheating side, so I don't know what he was like previously, so I can't really have a opinion on them as a family. But Eilish was a good character. I liked following her journey along, trying to figure out who she wants to become and who she should be and her past life and things like that. And it was quite picturesque, you know, when it was talking about where it was set and things. But that's pretty much all I can say about it. I rated it 3 stars. It wasn't absolutely blow me away type book, but it wasn't too bad either. So yeah, that is that one. The second one I read, I've got to look at my thing, okay, was The Nightingale, which I do have, by Kristen Hanna. So I rated this one at 4 stars. This follows 2 sisters, Isabel and Vianne, and they both live in France. So Vianne lives in, what's it called? I don't know if it'll say on the back. I don't know, and I don't know how to, I can't remember the name of the place, and I can't remember how to pronounce it anyway. But she lives in a certain part of France, and then Isabel lives in Paris, and Isabel's quite a bit younger than Vianne. I think there's quite a big age gap. Maybe Vianne's in her 30s and Isabel's in her Isabel's 18 or something. But anyways, yeah, so it just follows their story and their lives, how they lived through World War II basically. They both led very, very different lives, and they both had very different, very touching stories. I think from the beginning Isabel seemed more of like a heroic one rather than Vianne. Vianne seemed a little bit of a pushover, I'm not gonna lie, but as the book progressed you could see her like kind of strong side coming out as well, which I enjoyed. It was very difficult to read at times. I didn't cry. I'm yet to find really a book that will make me cry, but I didn't cry. I was very, very close to it. But yeah, there's some difficult scenes in it to read, and I guess it's just because obviously World War II happened, and then everything that's just going on in the world right now, it kind of hits a bit closer to home. The fact that even though these characters are fictional, this probably did happen to people, especially Jewish people, and then eventually just all people. And yeah, it wasn't a nice read, but I'm glad that I read it because it was also a beautiful read, and I really enjoyed seeing the sisters come together and sort of seeing them on their separate paths and things like that. And then it splits up into POVs of like who the person is now, who's reliving these stories, and then obviously the past and things. So yeah, it was a good book. I rated it 4 stars. The next one I read was Gone for Good by Sarah Crossan. I also rated this one 4 stars. This is the proof copy, but it is out now. That's the book cover on the back, if you can see that. It is out now. I think it came out like the 26th or something of Feb. It doesn't say on here, but I think it was around that. Anyways, yeah, this I rated 4 stars too. This is a YA crime one. I really like the layout of the book. It's all split into little paragraphs like that, and it's just so easy to read, and it sucked me in so quickly. This one is about Connie, who gets sent to, is it Silver Lake Academy, which is kind of like a school for troubled teenagers. So she gets sent there, and she actually gets given a bed of a girl called Belle, and Belle is a recent girl who lived there who's actually gone missing, and nobody knows where she is, how she managed to escape, because they're supposed to be very strict on things like that. But they went on a camping trip as a school, and she somehow managed to escape then. And basically the book is about Connie coming to the school, trying to fit in with people, but also trying to solve the disappearance of Belle, and then later on when it comes out, trying to solve the murder of Belle. So yeah, there's a lot in this book. It's not very twisty all the way through, but it does focus on each character and makes you suspect every single character that's mentioned in the book, because it focuses on them. And they, at one point in the book, they all say that they were the last one to see Belle, and then it goes into their story based on, you know, what they were doing with Belle on the camping trip and why they might have been the last people to see her and things like that. So yeah, but obviously somebody is not happy that Connie is digging around either, so she gets sent a few little notes telling her to back off, basically. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'll definitely be recommending it at work, because it is our book of the month for March. But yeah, as I've said before on this channel, I really love YA crime books, and that one was just so easy, so much easier, with like the cool unique way it was written out as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. And then the final one, I read Lies Like Poison by Chelsea Pitcher. So I actually rated this one a 2, which I don't like to do that. I don't like to rate it any lower than 3 stars usually, and if I do, I will not be shouting it all over the internet, but obviously I want to give my review. So this one is about Raven, Poppy, Lily and Belladonna, and they were all a friendship group, and then they planned to actually kill Raven's stepmother, who they weren't a fan of, and then they didn't go through with it. So I think it like fast forwards 3 or 4 years later, and then someone has actually killed Raven's stepmom. So now it's kind of reverted back to was it them, because they wrote a recipe for how to poison her and everything. And basically that's what the story is about, sort of who killed Raven's stepmother, why, and all that sort of thing. It is a YA one again. And it's funny because I really like that YA crime, but like this one wasn't as good. I feel like just the characters in this one were not likeable to me, and I feel like that is a big thing in a book, that the characters have to be likeable, otherwise it's so much harder to get into the story. The idea of the story was good, I just feel like we didn't get a lot of it. We didn't get a lot of the twists and turns that I like, and the suspenseful moments and the secrets and things like that. There was one thing that annoyed me in the book that kind of got mentioned but then didn't get mentioned again until the end of the book, and I feel like that was just a very relevant part of the story that wasn't there, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm not going to say too much about this one just because I didn't enjoy it. I don't want to be slandering it everywhere, and to be honest, I wasn't a massive fan of the writing style, wasn't a massive fan of the characters, and because the characters ended up being a bit confusing, like one of them's a girl, she was called Poppy, but now she refers to herself as Jack. So because it's spelled J-A-C-K all the way through the book, when it said Jack I was thinking it was a boy, and I was getting very confused because of the spelling, and yeah, but anyways, so yeah, not very likeable characters. The writing was a bit, I don't want to say clunky, but like just didn't flow very well for me, I don't feel like, but I did like the premise and the idea of the book, so it counteracts a little bit. But yeah, that is my February wrap up. Not much at all to say about that, but I am going to quickly go through my March TBR, as well, not as you all know because you might not have watched, but basically each month now I am doing like a 4-book TBR to get my physical TBR down. I do obviously have more reads planned for this month. I've got a couple of book club reads and then a few video idea reads and things, but I'm going to be mainly mood reading, to be honest, from those. So yeah, I'll just go through my March TBR behind me. So I've got 3 physical ones and then 1 non-physical one. So each month I pick a classic read, I pick a non-fiction read, I pick a author I've not read before, and I pick a new genre to me. We're running out of the new genres to me, so I might have to go for like genres that I don't typically read too much of, but like I have in the past. Anyways, for my non-fiction, I've gone for Talking with Serial Killers, Sleeping with Psychopaths. This is obviously true crime. I do love a true crime story. It says a chilling study of the innocent lovers of savage murders. So it goes through some of the serial killers. So among these unwitting victims, it talks about Sonia Sutcliffe, who was Peter Sutcliffe's wife. It talks about Kerry Rader, who was the 14-year-old daughter of the so-called BTK killer Dennis Rader. Talks about British journalist Sandy Fawkes, who narrowly escaped being murdered by Paul John Knowles, who is the Casanova killer, and Kelly K. Boyd, who was the wife of Kenneth Bianchi, the Hillside Strangler. And there's probably more in there as well, but I am very, very intrigued by this, I'm not gonna lie. I love reading things like this, and it's got pictures in, and yeah, I'm just very, very excited to read it. I'm excited to see the points of view from the victims or the people that live with the serial killers, people that sleep next to them, and yeah, I'm just very, very excited for that one. So that'll probably be, all of these are priority anyways over like my book club reads and stuff, but that'll be more of a priority, I think. And then the classic one that I've got to read this month, I don't have many classics. I've got 2 on my shelf, which is Anne of Green Gables and The Secret Garden. Anne of Green Gables I read in January as my classic. The Secret Garden was supposed to be February's, but I didn't end up reading it. But you know, I'm not going to choose it again for this month, maybe next month. Didn't get round to it, but other than that I don't have any more on my shelf. So I have chosen The Railway Children. I don't know anything about it. I feel like it's intrigued me for a long time. I can't remember if there's a film on it or something, or if I've seen a film or whatever, but either way it sounds good. So that's the classic I'm going to go for this month. I'm going to read it on my iPad, and it's kind of I think it's a shortish one, so it shouldn't be too bad, but yeah, I'm excited for that one. Then we've got a horror one for the genre that I don't usually read, and I've gone for The Shining by Stephen King. I feel like I had to choose a Stephen King book for this one anyways, because obviously horror, but I've really been intrigued by The Shining for a very, very long time. I love the film, I think it's a great film, so I want to see if the book's going to make me feel creeped out or not. And I feel like even though we're going into March, I can still read a nice horror. So that's why we've gone for that one, and I love the cover as well. It's just the creepy corridor, but yeah, I'm very, very excited to read this one and see what it's about, and yeah, see if I can get into Stephen King horror, because I haven't actually read any of his horrors before. I've read 11/22/63, which I absolutely loved, and then I've read The Institute, which I rated 3 stars. So that's all I've read by him. And the final one is for an author that I haven't read before. So I've gone for Andrew Taylor, A Schooling in Murder. So this one is a thriller one. It's our thriller book of the month at work, and it just sounded really intriguing. So I thought, you know what, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I'll add it to my TBR and read it this month anyway, and then I can recommend it, and it ticks off a new author to me. So yeah, this one is also set in the last days of World War II as well, so I guess it's kind of a historical thriller, which I don't usually read, so I'm very, very excited to read that one. That one will also be high priority, because if I want to recommend it, I'm going to have to do it this month. But yeah, that is my short March TBR as well, and that's the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching my very short wrap up. If you've read any of the books that I've talked about in this video, please let me know what your thoughts were on them. Did you agree with what I said about like my February TBR? Is there any from my March TBR that you've read or you think I should prioritise, that kind of thing? But yeah, hopefully we'll have a good reading month in March, and thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time for a new video. Bye.